I've been several different actors over 30 odd years. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. And I've been the scared actor, I've been the elusive actor where you just, you don't want to reveal yourself. You don't want to open up yourself to something. I've been the working actor. But now I kind of am coming back to what I used to do before I even knew that you could do this for a job. I just want to play. I want to pretend. I love it. I really love it. And when it's good, there's nothing better.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Jeanne Tripplehorn is an actor. She sat down with me in cyberspace to talk about the work. Is there like a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character that you have to embody? What is your way in? And has that changed over the years?
No, it hasn't really changed. It's usually, I like to just start the time and the place, and I sort of build out from that. What year is it? I love the research aspect of it. So, the more time I have with a project, the more I can build it out in my head, build the character out that way, because it's usually a while before you start to get into costumes and, wardrobe and all of that. But I like, and the better written the script is, or especially if it's a classic text, theater is really great that way, especially, if you're dealing with Chekhov or whatever. So you've got, you have to deal with, Russian history, and there's just so much music, you look at the music of the time. So I kind of start big, and then I go in towards the character, because I think we're all informed by history in our time and the times that we live in. It's that informs everything, really. And so I start big, era, time, where are we at politically, culturally, women, where are we at? And then I start to go into the world, the town, and then eventually get into how this family or how this company or whatever is working under these times. And then you go in with the smaller actions of the character and the needs and the wants, because it's all informed by the bigger picture.
What are these aspects really doing for you? Like, is it really just a matter of kind of satisfying curiosity that's kind of stimulating you, or are you literally looking at every piece of research as something that's going to inform the minutia of the person?
It's an infrastructure. I'm just constructing this world that I'm in. Because everything is based off of that. Like I said, going, more micro, and then you go into the relationships, and, you become really super, super specific. But I think it helps. Really, at the end of the day, you've got to walk on the set or walk on the stage, and you have to say your lines. And I think really the bottom line, for me, acting is, confidence. You have to have confidence. And it gives me confidence that I know everything about this character. I know you could drop this character off over here, and, you know this person. You can walk that walk. And so it's confidence. And then confidence leads to relaxation. And as we all know, relaxation is everything. So that allows you to I can walk on a set and I'm really confident. I'm not scared. Sometimes I get scared. My heart still which is why I still do it. And I still care, but my heart still, I get nervous, when a camera is about to roll in certain circumstances. I mean, sometimes I'm not nervous at all, but that's what I want, is to not be nervous at all. And then I can play and I'm not thinking about things, and I can kind of transcend the technical. I'm in the moment, and I'm just there. So I think, in a lot of ways, all of this research, I know in my heart that I've done the work, and that just gives me confidence, which leads to relaxation.
Yes.
I think. I've never really thought of it, but that's kind of what it is. It's pretty, and then I can do anything.
Yes.
I mean, if a director asks me to go over here emotionally, or go over there, or try this, I can pivot, and I'm confident because I've got this world.
Yes. Yes.
Hopefully the other actors are in the same world. Sometimes they're not.
Right.
But that's always interesting too, because I love to play. I haven't changed at all since I was a little girl. I love to play. There's nothing better. It's my hole in one. It's my golf. It's to be able to be in a scene and just kick around, and I love it.
It's
rare.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so great to hear that, because it would seem like after so much time and the business changing, that it's hard to stay the little person that likes to play, right?
And I've been through waves of this, because I'm actually coming right back into, I just want to play. I want to play with great directors and great actors, and I just want to play. The promotional side of it, I've never, but I do it because it allows me to play. There was a time after I was married and I had my son that I had to work, and I was a working actor, and I didn't have the luxury of picking and choosing, and also location. I had to keep my location pretty tight to Los Angeles, and so that limited the amount of jobs. But so acting for a while wasn't fun. It was work, and I really felt like in some instances I would just be. I would do the best I could, but it wasn't fun. I wasn't having fun.
And it's nice to hear like you're choosing now to have fun. That's going to make everything better, I guess, because that's what the nature of this work is. Like if you, a brain surgeon or a mailman can choose to have fun, and that's fine. It's not going to make the mail go faster though. But an actor choosing to have fun is actually going to make the work better.
For everybody on set. If you're having fun, it just permeates. But, everybody's different. And I do try to respect. There are some people that aren't in my headspace that I'm in right now. There are actors that are scared, and I get it. I've been several different actors over 30 odd years. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been the scared actor. I've been the elusive actor where you just, you don't want to reveal yourself. You don't want to open up yourself to something. I've been the working actor. But now I kind of am coming back to what I used to do before I even knew that you could do this for a job. I just want to play. I want to pretend. I love it. I really love it. And when it's good, there's there's nothing better. And it really is, it's so cliche, that's when the magic happens, but it is magic, like you were saying with actors, there is all the talking that we're doing about it, and, you can intellectualize it, but at its core, it really is just jumping off a page. It really is. It sounds cliche, but it is. It really can be magic because it's just coming out of a person's soul.
How did Juilliard work for you? I've talked to some actors who said it was an amazing experience, and some actors who said it wasn't a great experience for them, that particular school. Did it work for you?
It did. It was really tough. When I left Tulsa, while I was in Tulsa, I sort of in high school, I started really acting, community theater in high school. And then I had a radio show and I did characters, and it was the morning show on this rock station, which is still very much there, called KMOD. And so I played characters. So I was always, even though I was spinning records and doing, traffic and, all of that on the morning show, I still would have all of these characters that I would write for. And at the same time, I had a local TV show that was sort of the local Saturday Night Live. So I had characters and it was comedy. And then I was in the theater at night with the American Theater Company, which was Oklahoma's, at the time, only professional theater company. So I worked, very, very long 18-hour days, and it was creating and acting, and it was just so exciting. And then one night I was sitting backstage, or I was just sitting in the office of the theater, and I saw some magazines, and it was, American Theater Magazine, and they talked about the educated actor, and this was Meryl Streep and Kevin Kline, and this was like the mid '80s, and I thought, I remembered looking at it thinking, oh, well then, and I had dropped out. I barely went to the University of Tulsa. So I was not, by the time I was 20, 21, 22, I was just working in Tulsa, and I didn't have a college education. I thought, well, how am I going to do this? So, because I'm not going to get into Yale. That's not in the cards. And I just looked at the article, and it listed all the schools, and I went, Juilliard. I'm going to go to Juilliard. And so probably 9 months later, maybe a year later, I'd saved up money and I left, and I moved to New York in February, and I auditioned March or April at Juilliard. And then a month later, I was accepted. So for me, coming from Oklahoma to New York City for the first time, Juilliard, not only was it an education, and it just put me through my paces. And again, we talk about confidence, what it has given me. And I knew that it was giving me the confidence that I could take on anything. I may not excel in anybody's eyes, but I can take on most playwrights. I know how to break it down, and it gives you the confidence to tackle anything. But it also gave me protection in New York City. It gave me structure in New York City. I wasn't just kicking around and bouncing from this person to that person and this scene and to that scene. It gave me a home. It gave me protection. It gave me sustenance because I lived off student loans. I could not have gone there without student loans. So Juilliard for me was very challenging, and I stayed with it. And I recently went back. They had a reunion, and they also, the drama division, celebrated, I think, their 50th anniversary. So I went back and I took some classes one day, and it was spectacular. Wow. I loved it. I wish. But I loved it then too. I mean, it was hard, and they were pushing me out of my comfort zone, and it was really difficult for me as just as a person, because I am sort of shy. It's hard for me to stand in front of I can't even give a toast at the dining room table in my own home without getting nervous. So we would have to do these exercises and monologues and whatnot in these small groups. And even though I knew these people so well, especially after 3 or 4 years, it just made me nauseous and cry. Like they still laugh. I run into, our friend, my classmates from then, and they still laugh. I just cried my way through Juilliard. I just cried. I just was terrified.
I guess that's the place to get the tears out, right? When you're young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Put through the hard stuff, and then you can feel like you can take on anything, like you said.
And at the time, I know it's changed a great deal, but at the time, it really did not prepare you for the world of film and television.
Right.
It really back then. Now they've changed. I know that. But at the time, they were still of the Houseman kind of mindset that we want you to be a repertory theater. I mean, that was sort of the goal, the end goal of Juilliard was at the end, you and this group of people that you had gone through this with would be, we were long past that when I was there. I think I was group 19. So that, lent itself to, I knew that I wasn't going to be a, strictly theater person.
Yeah. So where did you learn kind of film acting technique? Like, just on the job? Were these directors, early directors, good for you in that way? And people, you worked with some amazing people early on.
Yeah.
Did they take you in and show you
yes.
specifically film
yes.
stuff?
Paul Verhoeven definitely did. He would take the time to explain things, and just as far as your performance and where the camera is going to be at, how close it was going to be on your face, and I also was definitely of the theater mindset that you had to get it right on one take, and if you didn't, then I would just laugh, like, oh my gosh, and so they definitely stressed, there's an editing room. We just need a little bit here. We're not, I think at the time, Woody Allen was known for the long one takes, and it's just, we're not doing that. And then Sidney Pollack as well, tried to, take some time at the beginning. Yeah. And then after that, forget it. I mean, it was.
Yeah. I mean, but you actually mentioned, it's funny that you mentioned relaxation, because in an interview you said that you asked Gene Hackman, like, what's the most important thing? And he said relaxation.
Yep.
And it's so interesting to hear that.
And it's true. I mean, and I remember I really relaxation. And then it's taken me years because, a lot of times I'm very much a team player, and I want everybody to, come together. And so I always try to keep the atmosphere really positive and focused. And after a while, I've learned that I'm trying not to do that as much, because I'm just expending energy. But I think when I was doing Big Love, there was a lot of that, of just, we were all like trying to, very much a team and trying to bring your best energy. But I found a lot of times, for me personally, I expend so much energy if I just am quiet and just don't lend to the noise. I think I'm a little more quiet than I used to be on set.
I've been on a few sets lately, a very small set and a very, 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 very big set. And oddly, the thing that was similar with both of them was the sense of tension that could have been overcome by, the person in charge. Just kind of like sizing up, wow, this tension is affecting everyone. Let me just come in here and just kind of break this up. It probably very easily could be done by the captain of the ship, and I was wondering, like, why it wasn't being done. Because obviously, like, how could this person who is successful enough to have this job not realize that this needs to be done at this moment to just kind of help everyone? And it was just so odd to see that. You just said, like, you've almost taken it upon yourself to kind of do that, and then you realize you're wasting your own energy, and it's not your job to do that, because you have a job to do that requires energy.
That's right. Right.
Even I'm imagining this even happens with so-called good directors that don't realize this is happening.
Right, and that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that, which is, it really is the job of a director, and There are very few of those, unfortunately. The directors that are truly a leader, and they understand their role and how important it is and how it affects everybody. It's the fish from the head down. It does affect everybody. And so I've worked with my fair share of people who aren't leaders that way. And so it's sort of, somebody's got to do it, because otherwise the set it's a real drag.
Yeah.
And
it literally affects the work, though. Like it's not just a drag.
Affects everything.
Yeah.
It affects what's on camera. And then, what's off camera affects what's on camera. I mean, I'm sensitive enough. If I see somebody is not being treated well, then I have to it just makes it all that much harder to focus, and also just kind of lose yourself again. You have to be in the scene. It's such a delicate balance. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That things are even made at all, because it is such a delicate, so delicate.
Right.
All these people coming together with a common goal. But if somebody doesn't have the common goal, and somebody's, working for themselves and sucking up the energy, and it affects everybody.
And you just mentioned focus. There was a very odd, like awkward interview, like one of these 90s junket interviews that I was listening to. Maybe it was after Waterworld or something. And somebody asked you a very weird question, which was like, what is your best attribute as an actor? Like,
and what did I say?
You said your ability to focus. And I was wondering if that was just an answer that you gave to get out of that weird awkwardness, or if there's some truth to that.
Well, my first thought, just because we've been talking about the child play aspect of it, is that when I work with actors who are children, they have this amazing ability to turn it on. And they can be off camera, and they're just playing and playing and playing and playing, and then action. But mommy, what are you doing? And I think that's really important. You have to have focus. So, and if you don't, you're just, you're dead in the water, because there's nothing but chaos. I mean, it is chaotic, because it's this huge organism that's, with people and all their different jobs. I've always, and I'll probably at the time, if that was around Waterworld, I was really thinking, because that was chaotic, and to be able to focus on a ship, on the water, with cameras on you and lights, and you are rolling with the waves, and you're seasick, and yes, you have to have focus. But I've always felt that the challenge, especially a film, because on stage it's different, but acting on film is transcending the technical. You've got a mark to hit, you've got cameras, you've got a microphone that, needs to pick up. Maybe you have it on you, but most likely there's a boom. And well, they all have their challenges. Theater has its own set of challenges, which is to project but maintain a beautiful, intimate performance. And yet to project is, and if you can nail it, and I think the best ones do, that's incredible. And I think that's a challenge for me anyway, when I do theater, but film, it's transcending the technical, so that you can make this moment when somebody's watching it appear very intimate and real and textured and emotive, and or not, to be really incredibly natural. But you've got, it's just like filming a love scene. It's the same thing. There's nothing natural about it, but you're kind of transcending past that. You're lifting up past that and able to focus. And that's focus, to be able to block out, and this stuff on your peripheral all goes away, and it's you and the actor and maybe the room that you're working in. I love it when there's a camera that's far away, if they're shooting something, and then it's very real because you don't necessarily have to hit a mark or whatever. I mean, it's sort of like theater, because theater, you don't see the audience, you're just on stage. And yes, there may be some technical things that you need to do, but it's really exciting to be on stage, because then you're
freedom.
Yeah, there's an audience out there, but it's the lights are kind of, if that's what you're doing, traditional theater, the lights block out the audience. So you're just on stage with the other actors.
And when you started doing series and were able to be one character for a long time, like tell me about how that changed your approach to acting and your love of this.
It was some of the best acting I've ever done, because I had years with this character. I had years with these other actors. And so we knew each other and we knew our characters. And over time, it was so rich and so easy. And it's series television. So there are many different directors. And after a while, it just didn't matter who the director was, because we knew it inside and out. We were so comfortable. We would laugh. One of our favorite phrases is throw a camera on it. Just throw a camera on it. Because it was so rich. It was just, God, it was rich.
Yeah. So when you say just throw a camera on it, you mean that you guys were living it so much that you just had to capture it.
Yeah. We'd get our pages. Of course, we were also put through our paces as actors with the most incredible writing team, and the creators were just handing us such rich, detailed, unexpected stories. So it wasn't like we were just languishing in our acting. We were challenged. We were faced with new situations. What would these characters do? But when we were in it and when it was happening, everything that I talked about earlier with knowing, having this structure in place, it just all came naturally. It just flowed. You had history with these people and these characters and the story. I think about towards the end of Big Love, and we had just these very emotional scenes, and a lot of death and changes, and we were able to just throw ourselves into it. And it's really what you want. It's a hole in one. Yeah. I've been hoping something like that comes along. I'm not going to say it's once in a lifetime, but so far seems to be. It was just really incredible. It's like being in a repertory, with actors that you know so well.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And the trust.
Yeah.
Trust, and just the complete, you didn't have to speak, we just knew what we were thinking. I mean, you could look at somebody and they'd give a little side smile and you knew exactly what they were talking about. It could have been referring to something 2 seasons back, and you go, oh my God, yes. Right. Okay. All right. I got it. So we're going to go over here and we're going to do that. It was so special.
So what is this new series? What's your role in this one for Amazon Terminal List?
I am Secretary of Defense Lorraine Hartley. Oh. Yep. And it's based on a book by Jack Carr, who was a Navy SEAL. He was 20 years as a Navy SEAL, and now he writes these just incredible books, and they're just page turners. And he has this huge, loyal, rabid, loving fan base. And so he brought it to screen. Chris Pratt and Antoine Fuqua picked it up. And
do you dive into like Secretary of Defense research.
Yep. Unfortunately, there are no female Secretary of Defenses to look at, but I did.
Yeah.
I looked at past autobiographies, biographies, but I really focused because Lorraine came from a military family. So I also looked into and was, not all Secretary of Defenses served in the military. It's a very, for the most part, there's a lot of, bureaucracy that goes with this. It's very political and all that means. But so I was able to look at women who are politicians that had served in the military. I looked at a lot of those biographies, and then there's all the protocol and it was a really incredible set in that we had a lot of former Navy SEALs, former military, on screen, off screen, writers, and we always had advisors on the set, whether politically, just the protocol of a high-level politician,
Cool.
protocol in the room, or also military. Just it was very detailed, which I wasn't expecting.
It's nice to know that something is going to be, true to, the way things are in something like this. Sometimes you watch something and you're like, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it's the way things are.
Oh, very much so. There were constantly rewrites. And what I loved about this script was that the characters were all very gray. There's not a lot of black and white. And I was constantly working with the producers and, Dave DiGilio and his team and, even Chris talking about what we're reading, what books we're reading, how to get into the kind of a mind of a soldier. And I really just kept having to try to understand this character and the gray levels that she was working on, the altruism. It was more detailed than I was expecting from an Amazon show. Let's just put it that way.
Sometimes I think about when my ship is going to come in, am I like, when am I going to be, sometimes you just fantasize. I bet you everybody does this. They could probably relate, people listening, right? Whether you win the lottery or somebody discovers you, right? Sometimes I think about, well, wait, this is more realistic. What if I can get in on a great idea and then that's how my ship can come in? Well, I found my in just about an hour and a half ago when I discovered you singing Shattered with Eddie Vedder. Okay, so this is you. Eddie Vedder announced you as having a unique ability to sing any Rolling Stones song in the voice of Julie Andrews.
Yes.
And of course I was interested. It came on. I mean, I was so delighted by this. So first of all, as a Rolling Stones fan, so it's an amazing performance. Okay. But then I'm thinking, no, this is my jackpot. I want to produce an album of Jeanne Tripplehorn.
Oh my God.
Doing Rolling Stone songs as Julie Andrews with a different star from rock and roll doing each one of the songs with you. Is this a great idea?
Know. You talk to Ed because he's always trying to, get something going. But
how did this come about?
Years and years and years and years and years and years ago, we were hanging out. Who's now my husband, at the time we were had just gotten together, and we were all in Toronto, and Pearl Jam had a show, and so we saw the show, and then afterwards we went back to Ed's hotel, and he had a ukulele, and he had something else. And we just were just having a great time. Like we were out until 3 or 4 in the morning, just singing. And I forgot that I even did it. And he cut to, 15 years later, maybe more, said, I'm going to do this fundraiser. And do you remember that time that you did Julie Andrews? And I think I might have, my big Julie Andrews was Freebird.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
So it's not
Julie
just the Stones. It's the great rock and roll catalog. It's the
yeah. No, I've heard through her paces. Yeah. So anyway, so it paralyzed me with fear. I was so terrified.
Wow.
I'd never done anything like that. And it was just it was just something that you do in a hotel room at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
It was, but I did it, and it ended up just being just the greatest thing ever, because he's Eddie Vedder. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
And he knew, and it really popped. There was I was riffing off, I was doing rhyming, and it was really incredible. It was one of the greatest nights ever. And then I later wrote Julie Andrews, because Julie and I did a film together a long time ago, Relative Values. And I love Julie Andrews. She is one of the greats. Gene Hackman, wow. Julie Andrews. She is there for me. And we got along so well, and we kept up a friendship. And I wrote her a letter, and I said, because all of a sudden it was on YouTube, and it was kind of getting a life of its own. And I wrote Julie a letter, and I just said, I need your blessing on this. It's out in the world, and I just want you to know I'm not making fun of you in any way, shape, or form. It was for a good cause. It was for children. And I think, it was for EB. And I said, we're going to raise a lot of money. And I just want you to know that this was not a send up. It was just done with love and humor. And I still have her letter. She just was, I loved it. I loved you. That's amazing. So that was great, because I didn't want her to think for 1 second that I was sending her up in anything but just complete. Talk about when you know something inside and out. I could recite. I know her entire. Do you call it an actor's oof? It's usually a director. I know everything about her. I just love her and admire her and worship her. And so for her to send a letter back saying that
that's amazing.
She loved it and meant everything.
You are in the fun phase, like you said at the beginning. You are in the play phase. So with that mentality, channeling your inner child that is playing, what does that person want to do to be the ultimate playing? I
need to work with a great director. It's been a long time since I've worked with one of our greats, and I couldn't tell you. There's so many of them. I couldn't even list, but I don't know where to begin. But I do have a list. And I'm kind of I'm in a holding pattern right now, because I'm not, again, yes, it's all about play, and I can't play unless I have somebody who's at the helm, who's providing the atmosphere. So and also sometimes when you play, I want to know, we talked again, full circle, talking about confidence. When you have a director that you trust, that's everything. That's confidence. So I really, 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 I'm sort of holding out right now. I just want to work with somebody who knows their stuff, who has a vision, and hopefully a director of some of my favorite films. That would be great. it started out that way, and then we kind of I lost my way for a little bit. Especially, after Big Love, there was I worked with my husband, which was incredible. He directed me, and he was a great director on a film called Morning. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the play plan, is to work with one of our greats. And it could be a great young, independent, young up and coming, but it's time. And I feel like, it's time. I need it. I need it in my soul.
Yes. Jeanne Tripplehorn, thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham, formerly IFP. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.